Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the 2018 Honda Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Welcome to Anaheim, California. That is Angels Stadium, and it is another beautiful night here in Southern California. 23 degrees and merely a breath of wind on a perfect night for baseball. Blue Jays trying to get things turned around. They lost last night, 8-5. The hands of the Angels, the first of a 4-game series. Another left-hander, Andrew Heaney, will take the mound tonight as the Blue Jays are getting their fair dose of left-handed starters against them recently. Let's take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons' Blue Jays, and there's a welcome name back at the top of the order. Steve Pearce is back in the leadoff spot. Down in the cleanup spot, Kendrys Morales against the Angels this year is 5 for 10. He's homered in back-to-back games for the first time this season, as he homered on his birthday 2 days ago. And Randall Grichuk, boy, he's swinging the bat very well. Hit a home run just inside the right field foul pole last night. He's 6 for his last 14 with 3 home runs. Grichuk really starting to swing the bat well. And tonight they will take on Andrew Heaney, who's making his first start against the Blue Jays since 2015.
Yeah, very interesting guy in Andrew Heaney. His 13th start of the season, 7th here at home. You mentioned his first start here against the Blue Jays in 2018. The one in 2015 was not very good at all. Lasted just a third of an inning and gave up 8 earned runs. That's a single-game career high. 8 runs against the Blue Jays. His last 2 starts have been polar opposites. He was coming off a worst start and shortest start of the season 2 starts ago, and then was dominant versus the A's. He gave up a 2-run home run in the second. He permitted only 2 more base runners, retired 11 in a row at one point, and into the 6th inning allowed just 1 other Oakland runner to advance beyond first base. He threw 106 pitches in that game. He's an interesting type of guy, a left-hander who really hides the ball well.
Defensively, the Angels have played very well in the field. They have committed no errors in 50 of their 75 games this season. They got a terrific veteran second baseman in Ian Kinsler,
who's celebrating a birthday today, his 36th birthday. He's a Gold Glove winner in 2016. He's an Iron Man. This guy comes to play every single day since his rookie season in 2006. Only 2 other players in the American League have played more games than Ian Kinsler. That'd be Robinson Cano and Adrian Beltre. Kinsler has played 1,734 baseball games since his rookie season.
He came up with the Texas Rangers and had a great mentor in Michael Young. We are set. Here's the first pitch of the ball game to Steve Pearce. He takes it for a strike, and we are underway. Pearce missed 42 games. He last played for the Blue Jays on May 3rd. He had an oblique injury and actually had 2 different injuries on the same side. That a weak ground ball toward Kinsler. Pearce is out in his return to the lineup. Little check swing tapper for the first out of the ball game.
Yeah, remember in Minnesota, he was a late scratch in the game in Minnesota. Did not play in that series. Tried to play in the first game of that doubleheader in Cleveland. That was the last time we've seen Steve.
So Pearce is back, and he'll like another opportunity to get a different kind of result in an at-bat later on. Here is Justin Smoke, the switch hitter, batting right-handed. Smoke was 1 for 4 with an RBI double last night. He takes the first pitch strike.
Now, I talked to some of the players on the Blue Jays, and I was asking them about Andrew Heaney and what makes him so tough, and they said he really hides the ball. You can see how he turns his back and almost slings the ball towards home plate. The right-handers have a tough time picking up his fastball.
Check swing, the appeal down to the first base umpire. It's no swing according to Andy Fletcher. And right now the sun is shining on the mound. It creates a little challenging effect for the hitters. You can see that strip of sunlight right across the top of the mound. Inside.
Well, if we see a lot of those hitters not picking up the baseball and getting frozen on fastballs or check swings, you know, on top of the type of windup he has, you can't see the ball.
It's really interesting. He starts kind of side saddle, but he has kind of an old-fashioned traditional windup, and He's got an interesting flick of his glove back behind him, and all of those things compound the situation for a hitter.
And he throws it basically out of his shoulder. There's no reach where you feel like you've got a lot of extension.
Smoke is called out on strikes. A breaking ball catches the outside corner. 2 up, 2 down.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for tonight's starter for the Los Angeles Angels. He's a left-hander. It's basically fastball, slider, changeup. That slider, they're hitting 133 against him this season. That slider, that fastball, just 248. And he's got to be able to throw the ball on the corners to be effective.
Here is Yervis Solarte. He too, like Smoke, a switch hitter. In fact, the Blue Jays have 3 switch hitters in a row with Smoke, Solarte, and Morales. He needs a strike thrower. We have seen that already in this first inning. You come right at you.
Use the fastball. Use the slider. That was a little get me over breaking ball for strike 1, and then he threw the fastball a little bit harder.
Good start to the ball game for Andrew Heaney, the left-hander. 3 up, 3 down. No problem. A couple of strikeouts. When we come back, Marco Estrada will take the mound against the Angels. Of the Angels, has his club in pretty good shape. They have had a multitude of injuries, but they've got a good lineup. And let's take a look at that lineup. Ian Kinsler will lead things off for the Angels, then followed by the great Mike Trout and Justin Upton. And when you look at Mike Trout over his last 9 games, his numbers are ridiculous. He's 16 for his last 25. With 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, and 14 walks. He's reached base safely 31 of the last 41 times he's come to the plate. And the Angels catcher Martin Maldonado against the Blue Jays has done some damage. 3 doubles and 5 ribbies this season.
That is the lineup that Marco Estrada will try to tame tonight. His 15th start of the season. Last time out, I don't think you can pitch much better than he did. Pitching into the 7th inning, that's the first time he's done that since May the 18th. He won consecutive games for the first time this season. He beat Washington, shut him out. Into the 7th inning, we're on that record to 4-6. They're going to need another type of effort like that tonight. John Gibbons was saying before the ball game, he needs a starter to get deep.
Bullpen was asked to pitch a lot last night after Sanchez pitched just 1 inning. This is the birthday boy, Ian Kinsler. He turned 36 today. He's been a good player for a long time. There's a fastball strike. Tough time of the day. You could see the manager, John Gibbons, having a tough time. He's looking directly into that sun as he tries to keep his eye on home plate. Little jam job, a roller to third. Solarte gathers and fires in time. 1 away. Marco Estrada's on quite a roll. He has really turned things around. And Pat, you mentioned the fact that his fastball location has been spot on.
Yeah, he's been able to elevate the fastball when he needs to. He's pitched against the Yankees, Baltimore, and Washington. He's been able to put it on the corners when he needs to. Opponents hitting just 194 over those last 3 starts with 19 strikeouts. And if they do get runners on, they're 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. He had a lot of great plays behind him in that last game because he threw a lot of strikes and really kept the defense engaged.
Here is Mike Trout batting with one out and nobody on. Russell Martin thought that was a pretty good pitch. He didn't get the call. Trout last night 0 for 2, but he walked 3 times. Once intentionally. And there's that changeup. It floats in there for a strike. What's the book on Mike Trout? If you had to get Mike Trout and the World Series was on the line, where would you go?
What inning is it? What's the score? Are we up or are we down?
You're going to walk him?
If I have to pitch to him, there's a strike. You know, the old book, and I think you got to take that book and burn it, was you could get him with high fastballs, but he hasn't been chasing those. He's been laying off of them. I would just try and mix it up. Just try. I wouldn't pitch him one way every time. I would change it up, maybe throw fastballs up his first time up, maybe more breaking balls, then the change up. I just try and keep changing until I found something that works.
Ball strike 3. Trout thought it was low. Good changeup from Estrada. 2 up, 2 down quickly for Marco.
He's got such confidence in that changeup. He can throw it at any point in the count. 2-strike changeup is just buries it right at the lower part of the strike zone. Gets the call. Good pitch.
So that'll bring Justin Upton to the plate with 2 outs and nobody on. Upton doubled and scored in the first inning. He would finish up 1 for 3 with a walk in that game last night. There's a changeup that floats in there for a strike. Upton has had decent numbers against Marco Estrada. He's 4 for 7 going up against the Blue Jays righty.
I asked Marco after his start a couple of starts ago, I said, you know, what's been the difference for you? And he basically said fastball command. I've got to be able to throw the fastball where it needs to, but I can throw my changeup and my cutter a little bit more if I can get my fastball over. And he's been throwing his curveball a little bit more.
Last time out, he threw 15 curveballs in that very good start against the Nationals. 2 balls and a strike to Upton. You know, chase that high heater.
The beauty of his curveball is the first time through the lineup, he can go fastball changeup to get through those 9 hitters. Second time through the lineup, he can go fastball curveball if he wants to, and then occasional changeup. And then the third time through, he can really mess with the hitters and use the changeup and the curveball early in the count, fastball with 2 strikes. So he's got different ways, and he's been using all of those pitches at any time, and I think that's what has really made him effective lately.
Full count. Ball 4. Upton wouldn't chase, and he lays off that, draws the 2-out walk. Take a look at the defense, and Steve Pearce back in left field. This is just his 7th start, but left field has been a real flux position. A lot of different starters out in left field.
Yeah, rotating door out there. Teoscar Hernandez, just a day off. He's going to get the majority of the playing time in left field. But Pearce, they wanted to get him in there and get him as a hitter. His first start since April the 27th in Texas in left field.
There's that curveball in there for a strike, bringing it into the mix early. Albert Pujols almost had an RBI single in last night's game, batting .249 for the season. Pujols finished up just 1 for 4 in that game. The Angels won 8-5, and each club had 9 hits in that ball game. This is going to be a base hit, maybe extra bases. Pearce over, gets past him. Upton's getting the wave around third. Pearce can't pick it up, and Upton's going to score all the way from first base on the 2-out RBI double by Albert Pujols.
Albert drove in a run for this team in the first inning of last night's ball game with a single to center field. It's another extra base hit off the future Hall of Famer. If Pierce could get over and cut the ball off, Upton is not going to score from first base. Change up, Pujols reaches for it, rips it down the line, and then Pierce gets caught up, and the ball gets by him. By the time he's able to finally pick the ball up, Justin Upton is going to circle the bases with the game's first run. That's where you got to pick up your coach right there. That play's behind you, you're running, you pick up your coach. He was waving them all the way.
Pierce had a little trouble picking up that baseball in left field. This is Luis Valbuena. Valbuena had a couple of home runs in last night's game. He had a 2-run home run in the 5th and a solo shot in the 7th. His 8th multi-home run game of his career. Second time he's done that this season.
Mike Scioscia was talking about him after the game, saying we've got to get this guy going. He had such a big second half for us last season. So I'm going to pencil his name in there, and I'm going to hope that he gets hot, because we need some production from our left-handed hitters. They don't have a lot of left-handed hitters. He and Calhoun. Lefties tonight.
Valbuena's hitting .222. Calhoun's hitting .158. They got to do better than that. Downstairs for a ball. The Blue Jays, the outfielders, you really have to make note of who's on second base with 2 outs. You got Albert Pujols running from second base. Should there be a base hit, you've got a shot at throwing them out. And it's all of your pre-pitch preparation to make sure you remind yourself, okay, if I get a base hit in my direction, I got a shot at throwing out Pujols.
Don't rush. Don't come up so quickly where you fumble the baseball. Take your time and just come up and make a good throw. You got a shot. He's going to have, Pujols has a little bit of an advantage out at second base with 2 outs. There's nobody by him. I mean, absolutely nobody. So he can get off there as far as he wants. That is Diaz, the shortstop, in the shift position out on the outfield grass. He could almost get halfway to third base if he wants to on his secondary lead.
3 balls and a strike to Valbuena. There's a base hit to right field, and that's going to score Pujols easily, as Valbuena has his 3rd straight hit against the Blue Jays. He drives in the 2nd run for the Angels here in the 1st.
Well, they jumped ahead in last night's game in the 1st inning and didn't look back. Valbuena needing hits, needing some production from the third base spot. Will cash in the runner. Change up. Supposed to go down and away, and it stays up, and Valbuena yanks it to right field. Unfortunately, Grichuk had to go into the gap and cut that ball off. No chance to get Pujols at home.
Third base for the Angels have hit just .229 this season. This is hit in the air. Grichuk coming over near the foul line. Andrelton Simmons flies out to end the inning, but the Angels score 2 runs on 2 hits, and they leave a base runner to take an early 2-0 lead.
A 75-game suspension for Roberto Osuna for violating the league's domestic violence policy. It's the 2nd longest punishment under that policy that the league has ever issued. Now, it's retroactive to May 8th, and Osuna is eligible to return on August the 4th. Baseball issued this statement from Commissioner Rob Manfred earlier today, and what Manfred said is that baseball looked through all the available evidence. Now, a report today indicated that Manfred also spoke with the victim of the alleged assault. The Blue Jays issued a statement of their own supporting the decision from baseball. John Gibbons today admitted the team was expecting this. He said, we're going to keep moving on like we've been. And he said, from a clubhouse standpoint, it won't affect anyone. Buck.
Now, the entire situation is very unfortunate for all involved, and now we have a little bit better idea about what the Blue Jays are dealing with. And John Gibbons, he's had to play without Osuna since the early part of May. Kenvis Morales, he is swinging the bat very well lately. Morales last night had a double in the second, came around to score, and then had a one-out home run in the eighth.
I asked him about that today. Found him in the clubhouse and wanted to see what was going through his mind. There's another base hit for Morales. He was telling me, he says he's feeling better at the plate, and he says playing time helps. When you get some consistent at-bats, you can get out there and get things going. He says, I got off to a tough start, so he's happy that he's feeling better at the plate. And I asked him about coming back to this ballpark with his team, his former team, and one of his favorite players, Pujols. And he says it's nice to come back here where it all started and to do well against my former team.
He had a great run here with the Angels. He was their everyday first baseman before Pujols signed as a free agent. Here's Kevin Pillar. Pillar takes one outside for a ball. Pillar had an 0 for 4 last night with a strikeout. He'd like to get something going here. He's got a lot of family and friends. He grew up here in Southern California.
And you know, against these lefties, he wants to do some damage. Last night, Kevin was 0 for 4. It looked like he was really trying to hit the ball as far as he could, and it slowed his bat down.
Pillar batting just 167 against lefty pitching this season. Takes it inside off the plate.
These two are always having some fun. They are teammates together, and now Pujols says, you know what, you're not going to steal any bases. You're not going to run. I'm going to play behind you, and then he ducks in between. Morales, all he has to do is say, hey, look at my stolen base record this season. I'm 2 for 3.
Fly ball into shallow center field. Michael Hermosillo, the center fielder, moves under it. Pillar's retired.
But yeah, these two, they're always kidding around with each other. Morales will give Pujols the business when he's on the bench and Pujols is out in the field.
Well, you know what they are? They're both baseball players. They understand the game, whether they're the DH or the first baseman. They understand every aspect of it. And Morales was a multidimensional player when he first came here. He was an everyday first baseman and did well.
I wonder if he told Albert that he's pitched this year.
Oh, I'm sure he did. He was really happy about that. He got an opportunity finally to pitch in the big leagues. Oh, here's Russell Martin. He too is struggling, hitting just 163. Russell did not play in the game last night. Luke Bailey was behind the plate. Russell last played on Wednesday and had a couple of walks. Scored a run in an 0 for 2 effort. The Blue Jays are the only team in the majors with at least one walk in every game. Russell's been a part of that. Russell has drawn his share of walks. He's walked 32 times this season. As that conversation between the two veterans continues over there.
It never stops. It never stops.
There's a drive to left field. Upton is back. He's got his back to the wall. Get up, ball. Get up, ball. Get out of here. Upton makes a catch. Right up against the wall. It may have taken a home run away from Russell Martin. Andrelton appreciates the effort of his left fielder. Boy, he read that perfectly. Turned his back to the infield and took off for the fence.
And got back to the fence, and he's listed at about 6'3", and he needed every bit of that to haul that one in. Last night he had a ball early in the game down the left field line. I thought he had a shot at making the catch, missed it. caught this one, and then Russell's reaction afterwards. I mean, what do? You put your head down and you just, he's been hitting the ball, and when he hits it like this, it gets robbed. That ball was going to be gone. And Andrew Heaney appreciates the effort in left field.
I think Russell Martin knew he didn't get it all. He took a good swing at it, came off the bat okay, but watch him step out of the box right here. I think he hit it toward the end of the bat. You can see him shake his head. I just missed it.
But then he started watching it and he said, I got a shot. This has a chance to get off the wall. But Upton said, not so fast.
Here's Randall Grichuk. He didn't like that call. Ball on a strike to the right fielder. Grichuk hit a bullet out of the ballpark last night. A leadoff home run in the 4th inning right down the right field line. Inside, 2-1. The Angels defensively in left field, Upton plays everybody in the power alley. They don't play anybody to pull here. You can see where he is. He's really shaded over in the power alley in left center. They kind of bunch the outfielders in the middle, conceding anything down the lines.
I wonder if that's because no Mike Trout in center field.
Nice play by Valbuena. They go to second for the force out. Grichuk hit it hard, but he was robbed of an extra base hit by the third baseman. Blue Jays get a leadoff single, leaving base runner. Another good defensive play by the Angels.
Jays 6352 to earn My Blue Jays points while watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Code must be entered by 4 a.m. Buck?
Thank you very much, Rash. Another beautiful night for a ball game here at Anaheim. A lot of Blue Jay fans in attendance, and it doesn't make any difference where the Blue Jays are playing. You will always see a lot of Blue Jay fans, and they got their blue jerseys, they got their home white jerseys, and they are decked out. I'd love to see a turnaround and win tonight.
Yeah, they come around the team hotel, stay at the team hotel.
Oh, Calhoun hits a high fly ball to left. Pierce moving over near the foul line, gets there and makes the catch. So Calhoun is retired on one pitch. Marco Estrada gave up 2 runs on 2 hits in the first. He walked Justin Upton. He came around to score on the Pujols double.
23 pitches in the first inning for Estrada. He's finding his way. I tell you, he's been really good and happy to see it too.
Here's Martin Maldonado. We mentioned his great run against the Blue Jays this season. He's 6 for 15. Of those 6 hits, 3 of them are doubles, and he's also driven in 5 runs. Marco jumps ahead with a fastball. Maldonado's an interesting case in that he signed originally with the Angels. the Angels released him. He would later on get to Milwaukee and became a big leaguer while catching for the Brewers. Hits this one in the air on the infield. Aledmus Diaz, the shortstop, right on the outfield grass, makes the catch. 2 away. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light MOB cans available now, featuring the Red Sox, Jays, Yankees, Cubs, Mariners, and Expos. 2 quick outs here for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the second.
You know, get used to that when Marco Estrada's on. Those high pop-ups and those lazy fly balls. That's all about keeping the batter off balance and having him hit it off the end of the bat.
This is Michael Hermosillo, who was called up yesterday from AAA Salt Lake City. Inserted into the lineup, and he had a couple of hits. He was 2 for 3 with an RBI double. He is filling in center field for Mike Trout. Trout's got an injured index finger on his throwing hand. He can't throw. So he's been relegated to the DH role. So Hermosillo gets the nod in center. There's another pop-up. Russell Martin in foul territory is called off by Solarte. Those are the best words a catcher ever hears. I've got it from the third baseman. 6 pitches and Estrada is out of the second.
Draft almost over. Darlene, the Sabres, as expected. Grubauer, Orpik traded to Colorado. The Leafs have traded their first-round pick. Rounds 2 to 7 starts tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on Sportsnet and Sportsnet Now. Guys?
Thank you very much, Ras. The off-season has never been busier for the NHL. Lots going on, awards shows, and they have their draft, and everybody's excited about the draft and who's going to be on their team next year. Interesting time in sports. Remember when the draft, you'd have to read about it 4 or 5 days after the fact?
Yeah, it was up on a whiteboard or something like that. Yeah, not anymore.
Big production now. Here's the Blue Jays shortstop, Aledmus Diaz. Boy, I tell you what, he's swinging the bat very well lately. Diaz last night had an RBI double in the second. He lined out sharply to right field in the 6th. He was lifted in favor of the pinch hitter Curtis Granderson in the 9th.
He hit the ball hard in 2 of his 3 plate appearances in last night's game. When you watch him, he's not over swinging. He's getting the fastball. He's getting ready for that fastball, and he's getting ready to hit it.
I told him today during batting practice, I said, you've got to be a smarter hitter. You can't hit line drives at the outfielders. They catch them.
What did he say? You're right.
He said, you're right. He said, I got to find the holes. I said, don't change a thing. This ball is hit in the air to right, but plenty of room for Cole Calhoun, the right fielder. He is his read time. 1 away.
Well, I know the one thing that the Blue Jays are going to have to do against Andrew Heaney is we're going to face the 9th batter of the game. Let's get on the fastball. That's the one thing that Devin Travis, who's coming up now for the Blue Jays, knows about Heaney. He says, I faced him in the Arizona Fall League, and I said, I have to be ready to hit the fastball because it's sneaky. He can throw it by you.
What does that mean to you when you hear batter talk about a sneaky fastball?
Well, it's like Jay Happ's fastball. For some reason, you don't see a real big arm swing. And the clock might say 91 or 92 miles an hour, but as a hitter, it feels like it's like 95 or 96. There's like this extra gear as it leaves his hands and it gets to home plate just a little bit quicker. So you have to time it up. You got to be ready to hit it.
It's on the ground. A couple of hops to Kinsler at second. He throws out his counterpart, Devin Travis, 2 up, 2 down here in the third.
Where hitting becomes difficult when you've got a guy who throws a fastball like the Jay Happ we've seen or Andrew Heaney. When they start changing speeds with the fastball, then it really becomes difficult because you might be geared up to hit that fastball, the good one, and he might take a little something off of it. Hitting's all about timing.
Back to the top of the order. Steve Pearce tapped out to the second baseman his first time up. You know, when you think about Pearce, we mentioned he last played on May 3rd. Missed 42 games. He played in 4 games in the minors, and I asked him, did he feel okay? He said, yeah, I feel good now, but it took a long time for him to get right.
There was about, 3 or 4 weeks where he didn't even pick up a bat. He told me he actually hurt it in 2 places, like under the rib cage, in the middle of the rib cage, 2 different spots. And I remember it like it was yesterday, the game that we had in Cleveland. He took 1 swing and he didn't feel right. He tried another swing and just walked off the field. He has an exaggerated follow through where he lets go of the top hand and he really finishes high with that left hand, the bat in the left hand.
There's a base hit for Pearce that gets down in front of Justin Upton. So Steve Pearce gets a knock in his first game coming off the DL.
And when he was down in the minor leagues, he started hitting the ball with regularity. So they said they're ready. Watch the swing. See the finish? That's that one-handed swing. You can see how it can put some pressure on that left side. No problems now. It's good to get his bat back in the lineup.
And it's just his 19th hit of the season in his 68th at bat. Justin Smoke was called out on strikes his first time up. He was caught looking at an outside slider. 2 outs. Blue Jays trail 2-0. First pitch slider this time, and Smoke takes the strike. Not very hard, just 78 miles an hour, and they talk about it being a slurvy kind of slider. It's not what you would really call a classic slider by any means.
That's a free strike, though. Isn't that what our buddy Donnie Cooper calls it? That first pitch, get me over breaking ball. He commands all of his pitches consistently. Not afraid to pitch inside with a fastball.
Smoke fights it off and stays alive. Steve Pearce with a 2-out single. He's at first. Smoke one of 2 first-inning strikeouts recorded by Andrew Heaney. As Pearce is not a base-stealing threat by any means.
Doesn't have an attempt, so Pujols is going to play off the bag.
This is the time of the night where outfielders and infielders on pop-ups will lose fly balls. You can see the sky they have to deal with, and as a base runner, you have to remind yourself, hey, I cannot take anything for granted. If there's a fly ball hit to the outfield, I've got to bust it around the bases because they might lose it. Maybe you can score from first base with 2 outs.
It could be the difference between scoring and having to stop at third. This is the time of the day where if you're in the field, you're just hurry up, get this out, take it yourself. Let me get back in there and hit. And maybe by the time I get back out here, it'll be dark enough to see.
Isn't that interesting? And I know what you're talking about, but people are saying, what does he mean, dark enough to see?
You can't see.
It's not like, yeah, it's just not dark enough to see. You're right.
That's a yogiism, isn't it? It's not dark enough to see.
You can't see out there. It's not dark enough.
The background, the background of the sky's got to get a little bit darker. It's the same color as the baseball.
1-2 now, 2 outs to Justin Smoke with Pierce at first. Upstairs.
Boy, Smokey is so good at working that pitcher. You know, he's a power hitter who's got tremendous plate discipline. Just lays off those pitches, and he's got himself back into this count. He was down 0-2. Now he has fought his way back to 2-2.
Gets a piece of that breaking ball. Jack Flaherty in St. Louis was throwing a no-hitter, but the Brewers' Jesus Aguilar broke it up. Boy, there have been a lot of no-hitters taken into the 7th and 8th innings this season. But the Cardinals have a 1-0 lead bottom of the 7th in Milwaukee against the Brewers. Smoke strikes out. 3rd strikeout of the ball game for Andrew Heaney. Blue Jays get a 2-out single and leave a base runner. Angels have a 2-0 lead. His outstanding June and how it matches up with his earlier months of the season. He's improved a lot.
Yeah, April not so good, May a little bit better, but June it has been outstanding. And to put that into perspective, in 2015, Marco went 13 games for the Blue Jays. His OPS was .633, so he's improved on that in the month of June. And then in 2016, he was 9-9. The OPS was .639, so he's actually pitching better in the month of June than he did in 15 and 16 when he was really good with the Blue Jays.
Those 3 starts in June against the Yankees, the Orioles, and the Nationals. On Saturday, he beat Max Scherzer in the Nationals 2-0. And Kinsler goes after that changeup. It's a ball and a strike to the Angels' second baseman. Kinsler grounded out to third back in the first inning. Estrada had a tough first inning. He threw 23 pitches and gave up 2 runs in the first. And there's that fastball back and forth. That's what you were talking about, the definition of pitching.
Yeah, and Kinsler is a very good fastball hitter, but he hasn't had a lot of luck against Marco Estrada in his career because he keeps feeding them that changeup and then crossing him up with the fastball.
Popped up over near the Blue Jays dugout. Smoke and Martin are both there, and Martin runs out of room. He got to it, but it was beyond his reach, and he went up against that barrier in front of the camera. Well, and it was just beyond his reach, so Kinsler will have another pitch.
Just out of his reach. It looked like he hit that camera, and I think he's upset that it knocked him off balance just a little bit and stopped him from going after that ball.
Yeah, as the cameraman was swinging that camera, get out of the way, it didn't swing quick enough, and Martin actually hit the lens with that camera. That's why he's so frustrated. He felt like he had a shot at catching it. A ball and 2 strikes to Ian Kinsler, leading off the bottom of the 3rd inning. Pop this one up. Travis, coming from second base, will make the catch behind the mound. 4 straight pop-ups by Estrada. So Mike Trout will come to the plate again with nobody on and 1 out. Average by month. Got off to a decent start in April, got a little bit better in May, and in June he's wearing it out. .433 average in the month of June.
Haven't been able to keep him off base. What is it, 32 out of his last 43 at bats that he has reached base. That's uncanny. They made a big deal about his 1000th game yesterday, and they should. So they started comparing what he has done in his first 1000 games versus some of the greats in baseball history, what they had done in their first 1000 games. Do you know that he was almost even with Pete Rose in number of hits through the first 1000 games?
5 hits behind Rose, the all-time hit leader.
Now Pete's second 1000 games, he was better than his first 1000 games. Pete got 1,289 hits in his next 1000 games. So we'll see what Trout does over his next 1000. But it is amazing how he stacks up with some of the greats, and I mean all-time greats that this game has produced.
Yeah, you talk about Mantle, DiMaggio, Mays, Bonds, all the great ones, and he's right there with them. Year in, year out. He's a perennial MVP candidate. The only time he didn't finish first or second was because he injured his thumb, missed a bunch of time. Mike Trout called out on a high fastball. He didn't like a couple of those calls in that bat by Manny Gonzalez. And that's the book on Trout. You got to try to get him out upstairs. He's a tremendous low ball hitter, and you can see Socha saying that's not a strike, man.
But you know what we were talking about last night is the chase rates, meaning pitches that he is swinging out that he feels that are out of the strike zone, has gone way down. I think these pitches are a strike. It's right at the top of the strike zone. That's a strike. Watch it on Pitch Tracker. Right at the top of the strike zone. Trout thought it was a ball. Marco Estrada has 2 strikeouts. Both of them Mike Trout.
Both looking. Justin Upton walked and scored in the first inning, and he takes the ball down and away. 1-1. Boy, if you're going to get that called strike, hitters are going to have to start to honor that pitch, and Upton went after that high fastball.
The rule book says from the letters or the armpits to the knees. A lot of times you don't get that high strike.
Yeah, and everybody in baseball as a pitcher has always been told, keep the ball down, keep the ball down. Well, I think we have seen now, especially with the introduction of the launch angle, that high fastball plays.
Looks like they're going back up there.
Good pitch by Estrada. Boy, after a rocky start in the first inning, he is settled in. Marco has retired 7 in a row.
Lasted an inning in his start, and it was after an Albert Pujols single. Well, it was a glance to the finger that made you wonder if it was a blister issue. Again, there it is right there, but it's the index finger that bothered him, the non-blister finger. He jammed it before the game. It started to swell. Now today, still tender, and Aaron was evaluated by the trainers here. John Gibbons said they'll have a better idea in the next couple of days how it is, but Sanchez told us it was painful just to grip the ball.
Yeah, you can see he's got that index finger wrapped, and from that picture it looked like it was a bit black and blue as well. Simmons throws out Solarte, but obviously we don't know how it happened. We don't know what it was caused by, but obviously anybody that has to deal with a finger injury and you're a baseball player, it's going to knock out. Mike Trout's out of the position in center because of his index finger. He's the DH.
You know, all we know is it happened before the game yesterday, and the Blue Jays were aware of that. He tried to pitch through it in that first inning, but it became apparent early that it was bothering him, and he could only throw one inning last night. Boy, you know, you were talking about being a manager, and you went through this. Things are thrown at you that you don't know where they're coming from, and you have to be able to make adjustments on the fly. I mean, how about if you're John Gibbons yesterday, you're all set to start a big road trip for the Blue Jays, and you got one of your hotter pitchers going. You come to the ballpark and they knock on your door and they say, hey, by the way, he might not be able to pitch tonight.
Yeah, great news. Don't come in here anymore with those kind of messages. But yeah, that's happened to me a couple of different times in the course of short time I managed, but it really throws you off, and you got to really be quick and think on your feet. And what you have to do, lean on your coaches, and you really have to get help from your coaching staff. Say, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to cover this? We got just one inning from our starter, and we're going to have to patch things up.
Gibby does a good job of thinking on the fly like that and using his relievers, and I think that's why he was saying today, I really need a good outing for Marco Estrada, because I used so many pitchers in last night's game, 5 relievers to get through that game.
Morales is red hot. His second hit of the game. He comes with 1 out. He's 2 for 2 tonight. He had 2 hits in the game last night.
Doubled his first time up last night, and then homered his last time up last night. Now he's got a couple of singles. This one right down Broadway, and he rips it into left field.
He's 4 for 5 in the first 2 games of this series. I asked him about hitting in this ballpark. He goes, I love hitting here. And what he did was he pointed to the infield. He said, it's really fast. The balls go through the infield very quickly. So he and his buddy over at first base, Albert Pujols, they're 3 for 3 already tonight.
A few hits in their careers between them.
Kevin Pillar flied out to center field, his only time up. You have some good memories of playing in this ballpark?
Love this ballpark for the exact same reason like you just said. The infield grass is cut very short and the ball really shoots through the infield.
Kevin Pillar bounces it to short, and he'll get the lead runner Morales at second, but Pillar is safe on the fielder's choice. And we want to welcome all of you who have been watching the first round of the NHL draft. We're in Anaheim, and we are in the top of the 4th inning. The Angels have a 2-0 lead. Kendrys Morales had a 1-out single, and he's erased on the fielder's choice by Kevin Pillar. There are 2 outs now in the top of the 4th inning. The Angels scored 2 runs in the bottom of the first off Marco Estrada. Albert Pujols with an RBI double. Luis Valbuena with an RBI single, accounting for the only runs of this game. Pillar's at first. Russ Martin just missed a home run his first time up. He had a high fly ball. Looked like he had a chance to get out of the ballpark, but Justin Upton, the left fielder, made a fine jumping catch up against the fence in left. That was in the 2nd inning.
Pillar is the Blue Jays' best base stealer in terms of number, and he's only been thrown out 1 time. But this is going to be a tough combination to run against tonight when Heaney's in the game. He's very quick to the plate, and Martin Maldonado behind the plate. The catcher is very good, very quick. They've only attempted 16 steals against Maldonado this season.
Got a strong arm, and he's thrown out 37% of the runners. Major League average is about 26% caught stealing.
This pitcher does a good job of getting the ball to him quickly to give him a chance. Not a very high leg kick from Andrew Heaney. It almost looks like an exaggerated slide step.
It's a very good example of how you get the ball quickly to the catcher. Not much time there for Pillar to get a jump. So Martin shoots it into right field for a base hit. Pillar will go to third base as Cole Calhoun overran the ball. And the ball is just thrown to the middle of the diamond with no apparent target. But Calhoun will be charged with an error. It'll be his 2nd error. Pillar had come to a complete stop a couple of steps around second. Martin credited with the base hit. Calhoun, a very good defensive outfielder, just overran that ball. He reached for it and didn't pick it up.
Yeah, in his hesitation, he was trying to hurry up and catch the ball, thinking that Pillar would go to third base. Just out of the reach of Kinsler. But Calhoun, this is a very good outfield for the A's. You mentioned it, errorless in 50 of 75 games.
It is indeed an error on Cole Calhoun. Grichuk goes after the first pitch. Valbuena do-or-die play from third, and he makes it. So one bad defensive play backed up by a good defensive play, and the Angels will strand a couple of base runners. Luis Valbuena has made 2 good defensive plays here tonight. Valbuena robbed Grichuk of a base hit, and now he makes a do-or-die play to end the inning, throwing out Grichuk for a 2nd time.
Baseball 18, delivering whole new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball available now. RBIGame.com for more information. Rated E for everyone. Before tonight's game here, Danny Barnes placed on the 10-day DL with left knee tendonitis. John Gibbons telling us the reliever has been dealing with those left knee issues, Buck, for a couple of months. No word yet on when Barnes may return.
Yeah, that's very difficult. Of course, his left knee would be his landing leg, and that's a difficult thing when you know you're going to feel pain every time you land on that front side. It's going to create problems for you. So he's been disabled. Sam Gaviglio is activated, as was Steve Pearce. So Gaviglio, we believe that Gaviglio and Jaime Garcia are both available in the bullpen tonight. Here's Albert Pujols. He had an RBI double in the first inning. Pops this one over the Blue Jays dugout out of corner. Marco Estrada, we mentioned he threw 23 pitches in the first inning, but after an RBI single to Valbuena in the first inning, Estrada has retired 7 in a row.
He evened that up with a 6-pitch second inning.
Well, that's how you get 3,000 hits. You just stay back, use your hands, and he drove it into center field.
You know, he was telling us yesterday that he can't load up and use his legs like he could when he was a younger player because he had so many foot problems, ankle problems, leg problems. But I still have to be able to get the barrel of the bat to the baseball. And the best way to do that is take that knob he feels, and what that does keeps that bat on play. And that looked like a cutter down and away. He stayed on it nicely.
So that snaps a string of 7 straight retired by Estrada. And here's Luis Valbuena. Valbuena had an RBI single in the first inning.
Before last night, Valbuena hadn't hit a home run since May the 29th. He was in a slump. A 5 for 42 slump. And he hit the 2 home runs, and he was saying after the game, I need to swing at good pitches. When I swing at good pitches, I can be productive.
He's had a hit in each of his last 3 plate appearances going back to last night. He was looking for that pitch, stayed on it, but it was just a little bit high. Valbuena was with the Blue Jays in 2012. He may have hurt himself.
Yeah, he's called a timeout.
Yeah.
He's shaking his right wrist, it looks like.
He can't swing so hard.
That bat rolls over that bottom hand. And he was feeling something.
But he was with the Blue Jays in spring training in 2012. And right at the end of spring training, he was placed on the waiver wire. I asked him, I said, who was your competition that spring? Because he had a pretty good spring. He said, Omar Vizquel. I said, okay. And then he was placed on waivers, and then he was picked up by the Cubs and spent 3 years in Chicago.
And that's unfortunate because he's got some power, some juice in that bat. He can play multiple positions for you. He had 22 home runs for this team last year with a very good OPS. Not a big batting average, under 200, but they did give him 22 homers.
His career high in home runs is 25. That happened in 2015 while playing for Houston. But last year, the 22 home runs led to 65 RBIs. That's his career high.
Big second half for this team last year.
Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop, is on deck. Line to Smoke, and he will double up Pujols. Nothing you could do as a base runner there. The first baseman is between you and the first base bag, and there's nowhere to go.
That's an atom ball right there. It's hit like an atom, and it's right at him, right at that first baseman. That's an easy double play for Justin Smoke.
So with 2 outs, Andrelton Simmons will step in the box. So Pujols is doubled off, and he's 2 for 2. Simmons takes a ball. There's a good changeup. 77 miles an hour. Andrelton Simmons is the toughest guy in baseball to strike out. He hasn't struck out since May 18th. I know he spent some time on the DL, but still, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's just 2 for 21 since coming off the disabled list, but that's not the story.
Now you see the strikeout rate, 26.5 at bats for every strikeout for Andrelton Simmons, and he is head and shoulders above Michael Brantley, Ian Kinsler, his teammate, and Victor Martinez. He is a tough guy to strike out.
He's gone 21 straight games without a strikeout. Lays off of that one. That's the longest streak by an Angel since Spike Owen.
The 4th longest streak in franchise history. He has 2 strikeouts since May 1st. 160 plate appearances. How about that? We talked him right into it. He strikes out for just the 11th time this season. Albert Pujols is erased on a double play, and Simmons strikes out. Now time for a Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddle from the Samsung Broadcast Studio.
Canada Day at the ballpark is presented by Honda. The first 20,000 fans will receive that red Blue Jays hat, and fans are encouraged to get to the ballpark early to take part in all the pregame festivities. Great seats still available. BlueJays.com for tickets. The Tigers coming to town, and Buck, our old friend Francisco Liriano, is set to return from a hamstring injury for Detroit.
Yeah, he has been on the DL for a while, and you can also come out on Sunday, July 1st, and sing happy birthday to Aaron Sanchez. It's his birthday. 2-0. Blue Jays trailing. Aledmus Diaz goes after that first pitch. He's a free swinger. He will go up there hacking. And you mentioned that the hitting coach for the Blue Jays, Brooke Jacoby, has encouraged his hitters to be ready for the fastball facing him.
And he's going to get his share of fastballs, at least early in the count, against this pitcher.
There's a slow breaking ball hit in the air. Run away.
Check out the Beauty Tone Paint event on now through July 3rd, only at Home Hardware. Here's how.
Southern California. And the beach isn't too far away from downtown Anaheim. First pitch strike to Devin Travis. Devin grounded out to his counterpart Ian Kinsler in the 3rd inning. The light's starting to take full effect, as we were talking earlier. Now it's getting dark enough to see.
Dark enough to see fly balls. Ball goes up above the lights here.
Ground ball, big hop for the shortstop Simmons. He unloads in a hurry and throws out Kevin Travis. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Britain gives up 4 runs on 5 hits in just a third of an inning, and Sean Newcomb, who was traded for Andrelton Simmons from Anaheim to the Braves, went 7 innings, allowed a run on 5 hits. That's a good trade for both teams.
Yes, they got a very good shortstop here in Los Angeles, and Atlanta got what they wanted, a controllable starting pitcher. Baltimore didn't get what they want from Zach Britton. They want him to get healthy, get out on the mound.
There's a base hit. Pierce pulls it down the third base line. It's going to be extra bases for Steve Pierce. Upton plays it off the wall. Pierce will stop at second with his second hit of the ball game. A 2-out double here in the 5th. Well, that's what he brings to the top of this order. For his career, many people think he's a much better hitter against lefties, but the numbers don't support that. And he has a couple of good swings tonight.
Rips that one down the left field line by Valbuena. I don't think you have to be ready to hit. He's got a lot of movement early on, but he's catching it out in front tonight.
Justin Smoke has struck out looking and gone down swinging. So for 2. He's ready to swing, but it pulls it foul. Nice job by the fan in the front row. Got his glove, and he's rewarded with a souvenir. Blue Jays need to get back in this ball game. It's the 5th inning. They trail 2-0. They've out-hit the Angels 5-3. Andrew Heaney, originally drafted by the Marlins, a first-round pick in 2012. And he had kind of an interesting route to the Angels. He was traded from Miami to the Dodgers December 10th of 2014. It was a big trade. Austin Barnes, Chris Hatcher, and Kike Hernandez going to the Dodgers for D. Gordon, Dan Herron, and Miguel Rojas. And Heaney went from Miami to the Dodgers, but 5 hours later, he was traded to the Angels for Howie Kendrick. Ground ball. Valbuena at third will take his time, and he throws to first. Folks, retired. The Blue Jays leave another base runner on board. They've stranded 5 to this point and trail 2-0.
Verizon IndyCar Series heads to Wisconsin on Sunday for the Kohler Grand Prix, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet Now. Buck, you mentioned both Sam Gaviglio, Jaime Garcia are available out of the bullpen for the Blue Jays. One of them will start Sunday here in Anaheim.
Well, this effort so far by Marco Estrada certainly makes things easier for John Gibbons, as he has pitched very well. He threw 23 pitches in the first inning, and he has needed just 36 in the last 3 innings. He has sorted things out. Cole Calhoun, the leadoff man here in the 5th. It'll be the bottom third of the Angels order. Calhoun, Maldonado, and Hermosillo.
Speaking of good pitching, or the lack of it, did you happen to see what happened in Boston today?
You know, Scott Carson, our stats man, gave me a heads up early on. It was 5-5 after the first inning.
Well, it was a football score.
Yeah.
It ended 14-10. 20 hits for the Red Sox, 14 for the Seattle Mariners, and the Red Sox won that one.
J.D. Martinez hit his 23rd home run for the Red Sox, and Nelson Cruz hit 2. He's got 20 home runs. Ryan Healy hit his 14th. And the knuckleballer Stephen Wright had a rough outing. 3 1/3, 10 runs on 10 hits. That'll put a dent in your ERA.
Wow.
2-1 to Calhoun. Fly ball deep to left field. Pierce has got a bead on it right in front of the warning track, and he makes the catch. 1 away.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
What a beautiful sight. The sun setting here in Southern California. Weather's been perfect since the Blue Jays have been here. Tomorrow will be an earlier start, 6 p.m. local time. That's 9 Eastern time. And a pregame show will come at you at 8:30 Eastern time, 5:30 Pacific time for you folks on the West Coast. This is Martin Maldonado. He popped out to shortstop in the second inning.
Well, you got to like what you see from Marco Estrada right now after he settled in after that first inning. Got a good changeup tonight.
He's been able to strike out 4. Mike Trout has been called out on strikes both times he's come to the plate. That changeup got away from his stomach. 3 balls and a strike now. We mentioned Maldonado was drafted by the Angels way back in 2004. Then he was released in 2007. Another changeup, ball 4 in the dirt. That's the second walk issued by Estrada. It comes with 1 out here in the 5th. Michael Hermosillo, the center fielder, number 9 hitter in this Angels lineup. Generally, when you see rookie batters facing Estrada, they just can't wait on that changeup. They're so anxious to hit that they'll get up there and wail at everything.
Marco made some of the young players on the Yankees 3 starts ago look really bad. The Soto kid, the young left fielder for the Washington Nationals, couldn't wait on his changeup either.
Now, every young hitter in baseball wants to hit the fastball, but Estrada can camouflage that changeup with the best of them. He got his 1 fastball. Another high fastball. He fouled it straight back to the screen.
It's been a good pitch for him so far tonight. That high fastball is put it in a good spot, close enough to be called a strike, close enough to make them swing at it. Not many curveballs. We haven't seen too many of them tonight.
He threw a first pitch curveball to Albert Pujols his first time up back in the first inning, and I can't remember any other curveballs he's thrown since.
His last start against Washington, 34% of the balls were changeups, about 14% were curveballs. Really mixed it well. second and third time through the order.
And there's that very good changeup. Hermosillo swings and misses and strikes out. That's strikeout number 5 for Stroman. When in doubt, you got a rookie hitter at the plate, throw him that changeup. Chances are you'll get him to swing.
Yeah, you got one fastball. If you don't hit it, that's what you're going to get. Look, he can't wait. He swings at that. That ball's not even to home plate yet.
Ian Kinsler, playing on his 36th birthday, has gone 0 for 2 so far.
10 years ago, he hit a home run on his birthday. The only time he's done that. He is looking for something that he can yank to left field. Always ready to hit the fastball.
Fastball inside. He ducks away from it. 2-0. Estrada very aware of who's on deck. He just took a peek over in the on deck circle, and there's Mike Trout. So he'd be well advised to get after Kinsler here. Deep drive to center. Pilar has got room right in front of the 396 marker, and Kinsler hits it hard. Mike Trout will bat once again with nobody on and nobody out next time they see him.
Wrap up your long weekend with the J-Hap bobblehead giveaway presented by Honda. The first 20,000 fans who arrive for the Blue Jays and the Tigers will receive one of those bobbleheads. BlueJays.com for tickets. It is a 1:07 start the day after Canada Day.
J-Hap bobblehead, pretty good looking bobblehead right there. And he is off to a good start this season.
He can't pitch any better than he did his last start against Atlanta. I mean, he was mowing them down.
Well, the Blue Jays need to get something going here against Andrew Heaney. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 in the Blue Jays order. And Ever Solarte will lead things off. The switch hitter is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Steve Pearce and Kendrys Morales both have a pair of hits. Russell Martin has the other hit for the Blue Jays. 4 singles and a double. That's all they've been able to muster against Andrew Heaney.
Well, he changes speeds with that fastball. That one, 90. I've seen some 93s tonight. Little breaking ball. He turns his fastball over. Doesn't seem to get rattled at all either.
We mentioned Heaney drafted by the Marlins, traded to the Dodgers, and on the same day traded from the Dodgers to the Angels in exchange for Howie Kendrick. he got a pretty good sense of humor, because after he was traded to the Angels, he thanked the Dodgers for a great time.
What, 5 hours?
He was there for 5 hours. I'd like to thank the Dodger fans for supporting me during my time with the LA Dodgers. Kendrys Morales is 2 for 2 so far. And the month of June has been very kind to him throughout his career.
Well, he came into this month a 269 career hitter in the month of June. He is up to 311. And his OPS closing in on 900 this month. He is swinging the bat really well. There's a ball. Gibby said, you know, I like to ride the hot hand, and I'm going to put him in there as much as I can as long as he's hitting like that. But they got a little bit of a problem in trying to get everybody into the lineup.
That's off the end of the bat. Kinsler a couple of steps to his right, and Morales is retired for the first time tonight.
Teoscar Hernandez is off tonight, but he's going to play most of the time out in the outfield. There's Teoscar in a little bit of a hitting slump right now, so he gets the night off. So then if Pierce DHs against lefties, I mean, you've got Granderson who can DH against lefties. You've got Morales, who's a switch hitter, so they've got some options now.
And things will get even more complicated in a week or so when Josh Donaldson comes off the disabled list. And those are good problems, according to the GM, Ross Atkins. You get Pierce back today, hopefully within a span of maybe a week, 10 days, you get Josh Donaldson back. But then you're going to have to make some decisions, and of course you want Donaldson back. That's a fair ball. Pass Valbuena down the left field line. Pilar is headed for second. And he'll get there with a stand-up 2-out double. His 23rd double of the season, his first hit of the night.
Second inning in a row that the Blue Jays' first 2 batters went down, and then with 2 outs, a double down the left field line. This inning, it's Pilar. Almost a carbon copy of the Pierce double last inning. Into the corner. They've been threatening all night. They have left runners on every inning but the first inning.
They've stranded 5 so far in this ballgame. Valbuena was disappointed he didn't make a play on that ball. That ball snuck under his glove and went down the left field line. So now Russell Martin, he singled to right field his last time up. He's had 2 good at bats tonight. Pujols and Morales going at it once again.
That's who they're talking to at first base.
The catcher Maldonado asked for time as Heaney was ready to deliver. Look at Pujols having a good time going back and forth with Morales and Hernandez.
How can you not have a good time playing this game? In the careers those 2 guys have had, how can you not have joy in your heart when you come to the ballpark and play this game?
Ball and a strike to Martin. Blue Jays need a big hit here. Get right back in the game, change the tenor of this ball game. The Angels scored 2 in the bottom of the first. Nobody has crossed home plate since.
Blue Jays came close in the 4th inning thanks to an error by Cole Calhoun, sent a runner to third base, but they stranded him there. Russell's hitting in an RBI spot in this lineup, 6th.
He gets jammed and Pujols moves into foul ground, and that'll end the time. So the Blue Jays leave a 2-out double on base. Pilar is stranded. They've left 6 so far this game, and they trail 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Marco Estrada, after a rocky first inning, has settled in nicely. The Angels scored 2 runs in the bottom of the first, and that's been it. It's a 2-0 ball game. Mike Trout will lead things off for the Angels here in their half of the 6th. He is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. He called out on strikes both times up.
High fastballs have done the trick his first 2 times up. Tough to keep this guy down.
Mike Trout playing in his 1,001 game. Last night he reached the 1,000 game plateau. And when you go over the great players of all times and compare Mike Trout and see where he stands, he's 9th overall after 1,000 games in OPS. This has popped into the seats out of play. The all-time leader in OPS, Babe Ruth, 1.164. Trout is 9th at 989. All-time 9th. He is ahead of the likes of Mark McGwire, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Stan Musial, Frank Thomas, Larry Walker, and Joey Votto.
I mean, every time.
He's out in front of that pitch, and it's a high fly ball to left. Mike Trout is 0 for 3. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, Milwaukee has made it known that they are not going to go away. They have played great baseball, and Aguilar had a couple of home runs. Now he breaks up the no-hitter with a home run and hits a walk-off base hit as Milwaukee wins it 2-1.
They can hit. The Milwaukee Brewers could really hit, and it wouldn't shock me to see them try to pick up some pitching at the trade deadline.
I know one thing they don't need is a left-handed reliever.
Josh Hader.
He had 3 more strikeouts tonight in an inning of work. He got 77 strikeouts in 38 2/3 innings. Justin Upton. He struck out on a high fastball his last time up. Estrada has 5 strikeouts. Estrada has now thrown 82 pitches, and if you're thinking about pitch count or fatigue, you couldn't ask for a better night to pitch. It's a little bit cool now. It started out at 23 degrees, and there's not a hint of a breeze.
You know, I think you have to take into account also the pressure of the pitches. Really, since that first inning, Marker really hasn't been in any trouble. And he's just been out there in the rocking chair, just going out there firing the ball in there. So there hasn't been a lot of stressful pitches since that first inning. I think that can play on a guy too.
I think it plays into it exactly. And the great Greg Maddux, the Hall of Famer, always talked about that. He says pitch count is just a number. It's the stress that you have with each pitch. Maddux always said, I can throw 140 pitches if I'm comfortable and they got a nice lead, no problem. Upton swings and misses and strikes out. 2 away. Drive of the game brought to you by the Honda Checkered Flag event. Check out their all-star lineup.
After the first 2 batters went out in the first inning, Justin Upton walked. And here comes Albert Pujols, a surefire first ballot, no doubt about it. Hall of Famer rips the ball down the left field line. That's going to be yet another double for Pujols. It's going to be another RBI. What does that give him? 1,960 RBIs now on his illustrious career. It's also our drive of the game.
He is just moving up the all-time leaderboard in so many categories. He's a great hitter and continues to be a great hitter. Estrada's ahead 0-1 to Pujols. High fly ball, not a problem for Pilar. He's got plenty of room in center. Pujols is retired for the first time. Another good inning for Marco Estrada. 3 up, 3 down. Meat of the order. No problem for Marco.
Since his latest DL stint, and not just at the plate, it's defensively. The Blue Jays right fielder has hit the highlight reel with some pretty solid glove work, and he gives credit to a couple of former St. Louis teammates. Yadi Molina told Grichuk, focus on the catcher pre-pitch. Jim Edmonds said the same. Edmonds told Grichuk, kid, catchers tip pitches. So for instance, if it's away and you're playing full side, as you're walking into the pitch, you might take a couple of steps into it. The wisdom has paid off defensively for Grichuk, who has made some great catches of late, Buck.
He sure has a rash. He's been a very good defender consistently throughout his rough start. And I spoke to Randall about that. You know, Pat, you and I both played, and we've gone through tough times at the plate, and it's hard not to carry your batting troubles out to the field with you. This ball was hit hard. Stay fair ball. Stay fair. It's got a chance. It is a foul ball. Hit a home run right down in that same spot last night. It was a lower line drive home run. This one, a high fly ball. It just kept slicing and sliced just foul. Tim Lieber, the first base coach, looking back into the dugout. It is very close down there. And looking where Cole Calhoun was, it was kind of interesting where Calhoun was. He was on the fair side of the foul pole, but the Blue Jays obviously have looked at it and have decided not to ask for the review. Bouncing ball. Valbuena again for a third time, fields it, and what a scoop by Pujols, but it's not in time. You know, Pujols couldn't extend out to stretch. Andy Fletcher, the veteran first base umpire, calls Grichuk safe. Scioscia is waiting, and they want to look at that one.
That was a quick decision by the Angels, so they must have some video evidence that they got him at first base. Valbuena tested once again against Grichuk. He's thrown him out a couple of times tonight, and I think they might have got him again.
Yeah, it's amazing how Pujols picks it clean over there at first base, and he's got it before Grichuk comes down on the base.
Looks like that back foot stayed on the base also long enough. But again, the Angels very quickly took a look at it and asked to review it. And this might be a quick decision from the umpires. They've already seen it on the video board here, and the crowd thinks it's going to be out number one.
Pujols, the difficult thing for the umpires, and it is indeed Laz Diaz, the crew chief of this umpiring crew, waves Grichuk out, so the video review at play is overturned.
finish that thought about Grichuk and everything. He's got an interesting philosophy about his start of the season.
Yeah, I asked him about his defense, and he says, you know what? When I'm not getting any hits, they're not going to get any hits. It was a terrific attitude to take out there, and everybody knows he was hitting under 100 for the longest time to start the season. But he never allowed it to affect his defensive play, and that's a great mindset. Hey, I'm not getting any hits, neither are you. So he kept that great attitude going. There's a solid base hit for Diaz, and he has stung the ball throughout these first 2 games of this series.
Check out the Beauty Tone Paint event on now through July 3rd, only at Home Hardware. Here's how.
We are in Angels Stadium in Anaheim, California. 7th inning, the Blue Jays trailing 2-0. They've had some opportunities. They've had a base runner on in each of the innings except the first. Devin Travis takes it outside.
I think this is a big at bat for the Blue Jays. If Travis can find his way on, you're going to get Steve Pearce to the plate with a couple of runners on base, and he looks comfortable against Heaney. Nobody warming up in the bullpen for the Angels. So Pearce gets a chance to face the lefty, but we got to get Travis on.
Fly ball to right, and that's going to get down and go to the wall. Up against the wall, Diaz is being waved around third. The throw from Kinsler not nearly in time. It's cut off, and Devin Travis, an opposite field RBI double. And it's a 2-1 ball game.
That is his strength right there, Devin Travis, going the other way, hitting the ball with authority. He says, I got to get ready to hit the fastball, and when I get one, I can't miss it. He actually has more hits to right field this year than any other field, not left field, not center field. This ball is drilled to the gap. Diaz reads it right off the bat, and he's going to be able to score really without a throw. It's cut off by Pujols, the first baseman, and the Blue Jays have cut into that lead.
Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, is out on the mound to have a chat with Heaney as the Angels bullpen starts to stir. There'll be some action down in the left field bullpen. Travis at second for Steve Pearce. Pearce has had a good return to the lineup. He's 2 for 3. But they're going to have to pitch to Pearce in this situation. Cam Bedrosian is just now loosening up. He hasn't yet thrown a pitch. So Pearce will bat with 1 out and a runner in scoring position. Devin Travis picks up the RBI, his 12th of the season. It's a 2-1 Angels lead. Pearce always looking for that fastball.
He got one too. They've tried a couple of times to come in on him, and he's singled and doubled to left field. Well, maybe the plan now is to stay away from him. Keep the ball away from Pearce. Make him go the opposite way.
Staying away, but that's off the plate outside. It's 1-1.
You have to make adjustments when you're up there and he's hitting your fastball and pulling it. If you're throwing it inside or you're throwing that slider inside and he's pulling it, you got to change.
Line drive to center, and Hermosillo makes a nice catch. First base umpire Andy Fletcher was late going out to the outfield, but he calls the out, and now John Gibbons has popped out onto the warning track in front of the Blue Jays dugout. He wants to look at that one. But Andy Fletcher, the first base umpire, that's his call, and he was late moving out towards center. Hermosillo hesitated a little bit, but then came in and make the catch. And let's see if it's a trap or a clean catch. That's a trap.
That's a trap.
That ball hit the grass.
Yes, it did. He hesitated momentarily on that line drive and then tried to come in on a shoestring catch. Pierce thought it was down for sure, but he knows that they've got the replay, so just go to the bag. He'll take a look at it. Watch the ball come up and into that padding.
As easy as we see it there, we had a call like this at Rogers Center in foul territory against the Rangers, I believe. And the ball bounced into the outfielder's glove. I think it was Ryan Rule who made the catch down left field line. And it was clearly a trap, but the video review did not overturn the call on the field. It'll be interesting to see how this one comes out. But another aspect, and now they say safe, and they're going to keep the runner at second. Now, Gibbons has got to argue this. He's going to say, wait a minute. If that's a play, I'm going to argue that Travis should go to third base at least. And that's a part of this video review that is always into the umpire's discretion. Laz Diaz is the crew chief. Watch Travis.
Let's watch Travis. What does he do here? He holds up. It's not a force play.
But Diaz convinced Gibbons, hey, in my mind, Travis was not going to advance. But I think that's hard to substantiate because Devin was halfway. He was doing the right thing. It was a questionable catch or no catch in center. But he is kept at second. Pierce with his third hit of the night is at first. Justin Smoke is 0 for 3. Smoke has had his problems against Heaney tonight. A couple of strikeouts and a ground out. One hit right here could change that whole evening.
Yes, an extra base hit to drive in a couple of runs. I like that he's aggressive with those runners on base and in scoring position. Smokey hitting .291 against left-handed pitching this season.
He takes strike 2. Strikes. He doesn't like the call at all. He's going to let Manny Gonzalez know it. Smoke called out for a second time tonight. Gonzalez called him out in the first inning on a similar pitch. So he strikes out for a third time.
Staying inside. A little cup fastball. Smoke, I think, thinks that ball was in and down. And let the umpire know it.
And Maldonado has gone to the mound. This is interesting. He initiated the meeting and has called all the infielders in. Doesn't look like Socha is waiting to make a pitching change here. Might be a case of switching the signs as Devin Travis has been at second base for an at-bat now.
Yeah, and you can see Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop, really staying over a little bit longer just to make sure everybody's thinking the same way. I think if you're the infield, you've got to play deep, keep this ball on the infield.
Big at bat for the Blue Jays. Young Ervis Solarte 0 for 3. Two-one ball game. Travis at second, Pierce at first. Fly ball off the end of the bat. That should end the inning. Upton is there, and it will. But the Blue Jays score a run on 3 hits, but they leave a pair. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. The Angels still have a 2-1 lead.
Margaritaville night at the ballpark. The first 20,000 fans will receive that Blue Jays bucket hat, live music, entertainment on the WestJet flight deck. That's when the Yankees come to town. BlueJays.com for tickets. By the way, guys, Josh Donaldson likely out for at least another week. He still has to pass a series of running drills, then go on a rehab assignment. Donaldson dealing with that calf issue, out since May 28th.
That's unfortunate. He has been troubled by the shoulder initially, now the calf. Yeah, Blue Jays need him back just the way Pierce came back. It's a difference when you got a veteran hitter. And Pierce, a 3-hit game tonight. Luis Valbuena. Well, Marco Estrada on the wrong side of a 2-1 ball game. He's allowed just 3 hits. 2 of those 3 hits came in the first inning.
Blue Jays have 3 times as many hits as the Angels, yet they're losing. Go figure. But you know, if you're Marco Estrada, what do? Just go out there and just keep pumping that ball in there, strike after strike. He has really rebounded from that first inning.
Gave up 2 runs on 2 hits in the first inning. And racks up another strikeout. Valbuena goes down swinging. Strikeout number 7 for Estrada.
A couple of starts ago against the Baltimore Orioles, he had 9 strikeouts. He's been doing it with that good high fastball. Just can't catch up to it.
Andrelton Simmons, he struck out his last time.
Now that's saying something.
A rarity indeed. Just the 11th time Simmons has struck out this season, and his first strikeout since May 18th.
That was against Blake Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays. And he's a strikeout type of pitcher, Blake Snell, and that's the last time that Simmons had struck out.
To further put it all in perspective, coming into this game, Simmons was 6 for 12 against Estrada, but tonight he's 0 for 2. Baseball's a beautiful game because of things like that. You got a guy that doesn't strike out, that's hit 500 against the pitcher, and Marco has struck him out and held him to an 0 for 2.
Yeah, I love that. The one-on-one matchup. Yeah, Marco's won it so far tonight against him. There's a good fastball. Simmons says my pitch recognition has been better, and that's one of the things that he attributes to his low strikeout total.
That's off the end of the bat, and it's going to hang up for Steve Pierce. And Simmons is 0 for 3. We'll be right back at it tomorrow, and we're on at 8:30 Eastern. That's the pregame show. Marcus Stroman will return to the rotation. He has not pitched since early May, and he's going to get a chance to start tomorrow. Game 3 of this 4-game series. They're matched up against the rookie right-hander Jose Barria. Blue Jays don't really have yet. They haven't announced their starter for Sunday. It'll be a flip of the coin between Sam Gaviglio and Jaime Garcia, more than likely. Cole Calhoun, he's 0 for 2. Calhoun has hit 2 fly balls to left field. Although he's 0 for 2, I think the Angels will consider that as a step in the right direction.
Yeah, his power has come back. He hit a couple of balls hard the other way. Homered last night's game. Second home run that he's hit since come off the disabled list. He's lowered his hands just a little bit since coming back, just trying to change things up. And it has worked.
Calhoun has homered in each of his last 2 games after not having hit a home run since opening day. He still has just 29 hits for the season and a total of 5 extra base hits. This is popped up. Long run for Pierce over near the foul line. He gets there, and Calhoun is retired. Marco Estrada, 7 strong innings in the book, but he trails by a run. Angels lead it 2-1.
Blue Jays Central and over 160 other big league matchups on every screen with Sportsnet Now. Visit snnow.ca for more details and sign up today.
New pitcher into the ballgame for the Angels is the right-hander Cam Bedrosian, making his 37th appearance of the season.
Andrelton, he's got a good arm. It's like his father. 3-1 with a 382 earned run average, a sizzling fastball that he's reached up to 98 miles an hour, a little bit of a slider that has some big break on it. He has closed some games this year for him. He has set up games for him this year. Their bullpen has really been in disarray with some injuries and some problems. So Bedrosian is setting up tonight.
That is a new Angel in the bullpen, and if he looks familiar, he should be. That's Deck McGuire, a former #1 pick of the Blue Jays, who has gone from the Blue Jays to Texas, now to Los Angeles with the Angels. He was picked up from Texas, and he was just called up today, added to the roster, and there is a possibility we might see him as a starter on Sunday. Cam Bedrosian facing Kendrys Morales. Breaking ball for strike 1. Morales 2 for 3 so far in this ball game. Don't look now, but his average is up to 246. That's the pitch that he swung at consistently early in the season. He chased every breaking ball he saw. And now the difference is he's laying off that pitch, and more often than not, there are balls.
John Gibbons was asked today, what has it been with Kendrys Morales since he has turned it around? You know what he said? He got rid of his glasses. So he got rid of his glasses so he can see just a little bit better. That's like it's getting dark so you can start to see. But it's true. He got rid of the glasses. He's seeing the ball a little bit better. And he's hitting the ball a little bit better.
This time he grounds out to shortstop, 1 out here in the 8th.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Beautiful shot of Angel Stadium in Anaheim. That's Tyler Clippard loosening up for the Blue Jays. Marco Estrada, 7 strong innings. He's allowed 2 runs on just 3 hits, and those runs both came in the first inning. Kevin Pillar Had a 2-out double in the 6th. He's 1 for 3. Pilar's 23rd double of the season. The Blue Jays have lost 9 of their last 10 road games, and a lot of it has been due to the starters' ERA. In those 10 road games, their starters' ERA 7.56, but it's a different story tonight. Estrada has been as good as he's been at any point this season. And the Blue Jays just haven't been able to cash in on their 9 hits.
They have had base runners on every inning except the first inning. They haven't been able to come up with that clutch hit. They are now into the bullpen of the Angels, and they got a chance.
Yeah, the bullpen has been a real problem for Mike Scioscia's ball club. They have not been consistently effective. They're 9th in ERA, 8th in hits allowed.
The home runs.
14th in home runs allowed. They've given up 39 home runs this season. Ball into the dirt. Angels have just one lefty in their bullpen, and that's him right there, Jose Alvarez. Mike Scioscia's always been a guy that said, if I don't have a good left-hander down there, I don't want one.
Yeah, just give me a guy who can get outs. You know who he's for. He's for Curtis Granderson. But I think the Blue Jays have a couple of options if that does happen.
Teoscar Hernandez is on the bench. Pilar gets a hanging breaking ball and pops it up. Kinsler, the second baseman, out into the outfield, makes the catch. Pilar would like to have another swing at that pitch.
Boy, upset with himself. He knows it. That was a hanging breaking ball. 3-2 from Bedrosian, like he was looking for it and he just missed it.
There's Curtis Granderson with bat in hand. He had a pinch hit base hit last night in the 9th inning.
And there's Teoscar Hernandez to go down. The batting cage is right behind the dugout. So in between innings or before you come up to hit, you can go down there and get loose, take some swings. And that's what looks like Teoscar is going to do. Go down there and get some swings to get loose. Curtis, he's always in the game, isn't he?
Well, he makes sure everybody else is in the game too. Russell Martin's got 1 for 3. Four of the Blue Jays' 9 hits have come with 2 outs. And they haven't been able to back it up. Pilar had a 2-out double in the 6th. He was stranded. Pierce had a 2-out double in the 5th. He was stranded. Martin's single in the 4th came with 2 outs, and it pushed Pilar to third base, but the Blue Jays stranded a pair that inning. Solarte is 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Smoke is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
The only 2 batters to strike out tonight for the Blue Jays. Well, they have 11 of them last night. Tonight, just 4.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Russell Martin. 2 outs. He got a hanger and pops it in the air. Valbuena in foul territory in front of the Angels dugout. That'll end it. The Blue Jays go quietly in the top half of the 8th. Angels have a 2-1 lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddall from the Samsung broadcast studio.
Tool to inspire change all across Canada and all season long. We celebrate unstoppable kids in Jays Care programs. You can visit jayscare.com/unstoppablekids to support and learn more. Guys, Monday night we were at the Jays Care Foundation Curveball event. Young Paige McNally of Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's past her bedtime now, 1:15, back out east. You talk about someone who wants to inspire you. What a speech she gave to Ivanka Osmak, huh?
She sure did, and she talked about her experience as a coach. And mind you, I think she was 10 years old.
10.
She told Gibby, "I feel your pain, Gibby."
And then went over and took some pictures with him. Tyler Clippard into the game, 37th time this season. 4-2 record for Clip. That's tied for second among American League relievers in wins with 4.
Maldonado goes after the first pitch, and it's a lazy fly ball into center field, and Pilar makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out for Clippard. Marco Estrada threw exactly 100 pitches, and after a 23-pitch first inning, he was nearly unhittable. He allowed just one more hit in the next 6 innings, but he's on the wrong side of a 2-1 ball game.
Yeah, that hit was a hit by Pujols, but was wiped out on a double play ball off the bat of Valbuena, and that basically was it since that first inning.
He gave up a hit and a walk after the first inning, and that was all. The ball is dropped down, and what a nice play at first base by Smoke, and an equally nice play on the other end by Solarte. Michael Hermosillo dropped down a beauty, but Solarte was all set for it. Makes a good play.
That was a play last night that might have been the turning point in the game for the Angels. It was Andrelton Simmons laying down a bunt in front of Yonever Solarte, and he was ready this time. Bare hands it, and in one motion over to first base, and Smoke started to stretch for that ball. It was a little bit off target, but he's able to corral it, bring it in to record the out.
Yeah, that bunt by Simmons was ahead of a home run by Cole Calhoun. John Axford just came into the game, and Simmons dropped down a beauty. Ian Kinsler, the leadoff man. Kinsler is 0 for 3 tonight. He is 0 for 8 in the series. Struck out 3 times in last night's game. Boy, he is such a key to the success of the Angels lineup, especially because of the guy hitting behind him. Kinsler's 0 for 8, hasn't been on base, and because of that, Mike Trout is 0 for 3.
And you don't have to pitch to him if he's not on base, or you could pitch around him if you want to.
That's off the end of the bat. Travis ranging to his left, and Kinsler is 0 for 9 in the series. They have kept him off base. They'll go to the ninth. Clippard with a good inning. Now the Blue Jays need to do something in the ninth.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
Beautiful evening here in Anaheim as we head to the ninth. You take a look at the line score. The Blue Jays gave up 2 in the first. They scored a run themselves in the 7th, and they trail 2-1. As Blake Parker comes in to try to save things for the Angels. He's 8 of 10 in save situations. His last save came on Tuesday. A 6-out save.
Fastball, curveball, splitter. What you're going to get from him.
Richick bounces to shortstop. 1 away quickly. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Eric Thomas and Brendan Dunlop. Thank you very much, fellas. That's all coming up right after this game, and certainly a lot of breakdown of the first round of the NHL draft and all the baseball news. And there have been some barn burners around baseball tonight. Odubel Herrera homered for his 5th straight game tonight as Philadelphia beat the Nationals 12-2. This is Curtis Granderson pinch hitting for Aledmys Diaz, as he did last night in the 9th inning.
And he singled to left field in last night's game to open that inning. Couldn't come around to score.
It's his 4th pinch hit of the season. This is a ball in the dirt. 1-1.
Parker, I mentioned, throws a splitter, and he credits his success turnaround in 2017 with the development of that splitter. You know who taught him it? Tyler Clipper, when they were in the Yankee organization together. There it is.
Yeah, and he had Granderson fooled. You can see Parker sets that grip on the baseball on his right hip, trying to get a good grip on that splitter so it didn't have to move a lot. You can see he's got it gripped. Now he'll make the adjustments once he sets the ball in his glove. Anderson takes 2-2 now.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen when you start messing around with it. Clipper was showing him different grips when they were teammates in 2016. He started messing around with it. He ended up really liking it. Started using it then in 2017. And he's put together a nice little run coming out of the bullpen for the Angels.
Fly ball slicing away from Upton, and it'll be out of play. Another 2-2 pitch. Takes it into him. Devin Travis had an RBI double his last time up. He waits on deck. Anderson trying to reach base here. Driven into deep center field, but Hermosillo is deep, and he's there to make the catch. The Blue Jays down to their last out.
You know, that's why you play the outfielders just a couple of steps a little bit deeper. You don't want anything over your head. That fly ball run down by Hermosillo, playing a little bit deeper. Now it's up to Devin.
Travis is 1 for 3. The RBI came in the 7th inning. He drove in the only Blue Jay run of the night. The Jays about hit the Angels 9-3, but they've left 8 on base. The Blue Jays for a second straight night are 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They lost last night 8-5. Had 9 hits in that game.
That's nasty. He's thrown it early in the count, so the Blue Jays are having a chance to look at it. Got to be able to lay off of it because it looks like it's out of the strike zone.
Down on their feet here in Anaheim. Angels on the verge of taking the first 2 games of this 4-game series. 0-2 pitch. Come on and missed, and that's the ball game. Craig Parker comes on and picks up the save. His 9th of the saves, and Pujols with an RBI. Double in the first inning. Balbuena drove in the second run. That's the difference in the ball game. The Angels scored 2 in the first. Blue Jays get their only run in the 7th and lose 2-1 here tonight.
And the pitching of the Angels make it stack up. Heaney was 7 innings. He spread around his 9 hits that he gave up, 4 strikeouts. They didn't walk a batter. I think that's the important thing. They gave up the hits, but they didn't walk a batter as they take the second game of this 4-game series.
First game all season long, the Blue Jays hitters did not draw a walk. They have lost the first 2. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you tomorrow night. Stay tuned. Here's Sportsnet Central with Eric and Brendan.